last week we introduced the concept of doing a 3-beat partner weave in split time opposites, how to do that forwards, reverse, facing your partner, back to back with your partner, or oriented so that one's back is facing the other person's front. Now we're going to talk about exchanging the places of the partner in the course of this. Our friends Justin and Christina refer to this concept as a slide. We're going to show you a quick example here. So, and we're going to go ahead and do a continuous slide to both of our lefts. It's going to look like this. Next. Sweet. And pull apart. Cool. So, that's where we're trying to get to, but we're first going to give you guys a little note about communication, because at this point it becomes absolutely necessary. You may have noticed that in both this video and the last video, we're giving each other a number of verbal cues to say when we're going to get into or out of a particular move. For example, if we're talking about timing, you can count down to your partner, say 3, 2, 1, or do it like it's going to be a bar of music, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've even simplified this sometimes to just say the next time a particular part of the pattern comes around, we're going to make that transition. However, now that we're dealing with slides, that's only half of the story.
The other thing we have to communicate to each other is which direction we're going to go. And that's usually just a right or a left, but what we've decided to make our convention is that the right or left refers to the person who is making that call.
Yes.
Which is going to be especially important once you start doing things when you're both facing the same direction.
Yeah.
Because if I step to the right and Drex steps to the right too, we're both going to crash into each other.
Yeah.
So,
we'll show you an example of that later on in the video, but for right now, we're going to kind of show you guys the structure of this and break it down into smaller pieces, yeah? We're going to start off by just facing each other and getting it into one of the standard forward weaves. So, and up. Cool. So from right here, it's been our convention to usually make this transition happen. We're going to go to our left on this one, each of us. Morgan's going to step left, I'm going to step left. And it happens when each of us have the hand opposite the direction that we're going to go. So in this, for both of us, it's going to be our right hand underneath the other person's left hand. It happens at that moment, right there. That moment, yeah? So what we're going to do is we're going to execute half of the turn. And next. Boom. So things to note about how that worked real quick. Normally when we're in the partner weave, our arms are spread apart so that we can interlock with each other. When we begin this, both of us take our right hand and draw it down and around to meet up with our left hand. Why do we do this? Because it creates a window that our partner can walk past us. Our next move is going to be to take a step forward so that we're going to be back to back, and that right hand is going to go up and over to meet the other hand, right? Now, since the right hand is going to be at the top beat, we're each going to be leaning slightly to our right as we get into that back-to-back partner weave. Let's go ahead and bring our hands back together, and go ahead and enter back-to-back in 3, 2, 1, up. Cool. So, back-to-back forwards, and let's go ahead and transition back the other way around, Morgan. This time it's going to be the left hand that comes down and around, and then goes up and over. We're just going to do it continuously this time. So that's going to happen. No, just back around to me facing the camera and you in front of me, yeah? All right, cool. So that is going to happen in next. Boom, boom, yeah? So each of us knows that in that particular case, pull apart, we're going to have the left hand come down and around, and then go up and over to start the forwards weave around with Morgan's back towards the camera and me facing towards you guys and us, the two of us facing each other. It's a bit of a mouthful. It actually does make quite a bit more sense when you're actively engaged in it. The thing you just have to remember is which hand is leading its way through, right?
right. The next step is that we can actually add a stall to this instead of just continuing to do a pedal out at the side. The interesting thing about this is that, of course, it's going to reverse your direction. You're going to come back in and you're going to be in a reverse weave this time, which means you have to start thinking about your leading hand as being the one coming underneath instead of going over the top. So, go ahead and do this.
Yeah, break it apart.
And so now we're both back to back doing a reverse weave. And then we can continue this around all the way to the other side where we started. And next. And there we have it.
Cool. If you're looking really closely, you'll note that it works quite a bit like the slide that we started with, where the hands come together and then come apart. The only difference is that when the hands come together now, the boys stop and they switch direction. So what this means is that when we switch from front to front to back, we're also switching from a forwards weave to a reverse weave. Now we're not looking for the right hand to be coming over the other person's arm. We're now looking for it to come back underneath the person's arm, starting that reverse weave, right? It's a little confusing, and it gets even more confusing when we start doing things like being back to front. So, in this case, one of us is going to call what's going to happen, and the other person is going to have to realize that since we're both facing the same direction, you're going to have to step in the opposite way that your partner is calling. So if I call stall right, and let's only do half of it, so it will be next, boom, Morgan had to step to her left in order to make that work. Let's go ahead and finish it up. And next. And sometimes that happens.
So, next note is that this is going to happen a lot. And so there's a couple of things you can do to accommodate that. One is that you can make sure to give your partner clearance by making sure to step out and around them, as opposed to crashing back into them. The other is to make sure that you have nice flat planes as close as you can to your own body, so that you don't end up tangling your poi and your partner's poi, or their head, or their legs, or whatever gets in the way.
Yeah. It should be said too, this works very easily between Morgan and I because we are extremely close in height. The bigger height differential you have between you and your partner, the more that both of you are going to have to compensate in order to make this work. Shorter people are going to have to reach very high up in order to get the overbeat above their partner's shoulders, and taller people are going to have to reach quite low in order to get the underbeat underneath their partner's shoulders.
It's totally possible. It just takes a little bit of adjusting.
Yes, yes. So, I think that's all we've got for you guys for this week. Next week, we're going to talk about a concept that Justin and Christina referred to as a pivot. Really what it is it's a turn as we're doing these slides, right? And what's really cool about it is you'll notice this week that we're always kind of in the same orientation towards each other. Or, excuse me, we're always in the opposite orientation towards each other. If we start face to face, we wind up back to back. And if we're starting back to front, we wind up back to front except facing the other direction, right? So this next video, we're going to show you guys how you can change your orientation and keep it front to front, for example, each time, yeah? So thank you guys for watching, and we will be back with more for you next week. Peace.
This video was made possible thanks to the kind contributions of these folks right here. Special thanks to Sean, Prisna, Kira, and Firefly for your very generous support. This video channel is a one-man operation. Help me to keep on making these videos by visiting drexfactor.com/support, where you can get your name in the credits or choose from a variety of other rewards, and help me to continue to make the videos that I love. Thanks for watching.